I bought this house with a 38% discount. I bought this one with a 35% discount and this one with about 25% in discount. And those are just a few of the deals that I've done where I've got massive discounts on the purchase price. In fact, most of the deals that I do, I get 30 to 40% off of my purchase price. And that's even before I then go to add value, either through a refurb or through a lease extension. So how do I secure properties with this level of discount? And how can you do it too? Well, to start off, it's important to understand the reasons why someone might agree to sell their property for a reduced price. And to explain this, I want to draw a pie chart, okay? And if we split that pie chart into 3 segments, these are the 3 segments which are gonna make up your offer when trying to buy a property below market value. The first one is the position of your offer. Your position is in terms of your finance and how quickly you can complete. So it could be, are you buying it with cash? Are you using bridging? Are you using a mortgage? Can you complete in 7 days? Can you complete in 4 weeks? Or are you doing this over an 8 to 12 week period or duration of time? That is the position of your offer. And the importance of whether that is quick or not is actually really dependent on what the owner wants. The second thing is actually your negotiation skills. Another big part of the pie, another big part of this offer, because if you're not very good at negotiating, you're unlikely to be able to get something below market value or at a reduced price. And the third and final one, and not potentially, it is the most important one, is the owner's motivation. Because if they're not motivated to sell, then you guessed it, you're not going to be able to buy it for a cheap price. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on motivation. And when I talk about securing properties at a 30% discount, most people's reaction is, well, that's nonsense. It can't be done. And why would someone sell their property under market price? And although those responses are a bit small-minded, they are semi-reasonable reactions for the average person. Because if you go to work, you pay your bills, you can afford your mortgage each month, and you're not motivated to sell your property quickly, then why would you? You wouldn't. In fact, if you wanted to sell your property, then you'd be likely to get 3 estate agent valuations and make a decision based on, well, the estate agent that you liked the most, and combined that with the valuation that they gave your property. You are likely to list that property at its market value or even test the market with a higher price, as some estate agents like to say. When you make those rash judgments on whether someone would sell for a cheap price or not, you aren't putting yourself in the shoes and the position of someone that has fallen into a different circumstance. They could have lost their job. They could have got into debt, could have gambled away their life savings, or enter X reason that means they are in a position where they need to sell quickly. In fact, most motivated sales actually fall into the following categories. The first one is death. Perhaps someone has passed away and left you a property 5 hours away from where you live, and you don't have the time or the desire to deal with it. The second one could be debt. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, you could have got yourself into a sticky situation with finances. And the last one is divorce. I'm sure I don't need to explain that one. They can at times be acrimonious and require quick resolution. So divorce could be a motivated reason to sell. So these are the 3 Ds: death, debt, and divorce. And it sounds opportunistic going after these, but it is reality. Some additional reasons could be relocation for personal circumstances or problematic tenants. So relocation, and let's just put tenants. And all of these motivations would easily be resolved if you could liquidate your asset within 24 hours or 7 days. But property is an illiquid asset, meaning that in most circumstances, selling a property takes 2 to 3 months to convert its value into cash. So now let's talk about finding them. When it comes to finding motivated sellers, well, there are 2 main routes that you can go down. There is on-market routes and off-market routes. On-market routes are ways in which you can access discounted properties, but they are already on the open market. But generally speaking, owners that have listed their properties online are motivated. There is no doubt about that, but their price expectation could and might still be high, and their need to sell quickly could still be very low. But we should go to estate agents. So one option that you should never discount is properties with estate agents. If I put estate agents there, but it's not the listings that you need to be focused on. It's actually the relationship that you build with the estate agents that you should focus on, because they are the key to finding motivated sellers. But the mistake most people make is asking for a property in need of a full refurbishment. You know, the kind of house that you've seen on Homes Under the Hammer that needs complete gutting. But the truth is, a property could be a full refurb, and that is why the owner is motivated to sell. But there is equally a chance that there's many properties that don't need full refurbs. Perhaps they need small or less refurb, but they still have motivated sellers. And in fact, when I have a conversation now with an estate agent, I no longer ask them for properties that are in need of a full refurbishment. In fact, I say, could you let me know of any motivated sellers that you have that need to move quickly or will take a discount in order to get a quick sale? Next up are auctions. They are, of course, a great place to find motivated sellers because auctions have deadlines. Usually a fee or a deposit is taken on the day and a 28 or a 56-day completion deadline is set. And this provides the owner with the confidence that they will receive the funds within a set time frame. And they are therefore often willing to take the risk on setting a lower reserve price or taking a lower price for the property. Okay? The key with auctions though is to specifically look for properties that lack information. Perhaps they just have one outside photo or really bad photo. If you can go the extra mile to find out the information that others aren't, or that is possibly putting other people off, well then you gain an advantage. Rather than going for the ones that are really well advertised and they're staged and they've got really well taken photos and a floor plan, don't go for those because everyone's going for those. Go for the ones that are harder and you have to do more effort, find out more information. The other point, of course, to always mention is tracking lots that didn't sell. If someone has entered their property into an auction, they are usually already more motivated than a traditional seller with an estate agent. So then if their property then goes to auction and doesn't sell, well, their level of motivation only increases. And if anything, they're now starting to panic. And then last under this section is letting agents. And you might think, well, Justin, did you not already talk about letting agents? You mentioned estate agents. And no, I didn't, because they are different. I'm specifically talking about letting agents here. And that is because some estate agents do sales and do lettings, and therefore they have a large database of clients that they could sell those properties to. Yet letting agents don't. They don't have that large database of people to sell properties to, yet they are in direct communication with the landlords on their books. And they are actually likely to be the first people to find out when a landlord is looking to sell. So don't avoid letting agents, go in there, build relationships with them, make them aware that you are looking to become one of their bigger landlords and that you are willing to buy properties off of their landlords that are looking to exit, because that's de-risking it for the letting agent. If they've got a landlord looking to offload 5 properties back to the market, they're losing 5 revenue streams, 5 bits of income. Whereas if you can take that over, you can kind of save the day if you give the business back to them, of course. So you need to talk to them, build the relationship, and that is another great route for finding properties using the letting agent. Okay, so now I want to move on to off-market routes. Okay, this is off-market routes to finding owners or landlords that you're trying to buy from. This is also known as direct-to-vendor, and I want to start with paid advertising. And with paid advertising, as the name suggests, you would pay to list adverts, normally on Google or Facebook, for example. And this is to get in front of owners looking to sell their property. Okay, have you ever seen a We Buy Any House advert? These are marketing fronts for businesses looking to buy and sell below market value properties. These forms of marketing are very effective, but also incredibly expensive and competitive, as you can imagine. You know, if you're competing with a company that are able to buy multiple properties per month or tens of properties per month, well, they're more than likely willing to have a much higher advert spend than you. So you could go down the route of doing this, particularly if you're very good at kind of paid advertising routes, but just be warned it's expensive. but it can be effective and scalable because you are now sitting behind your computer accessing any area of the UK. And that is something I have used, but there is a more effective method that I would suggest, particularly for those of you that are just getting started with direct to vendor routes and perhaps just looking to get one property over the upcoming months, and that is letters, okay? Because this can be done in a few different manners, okay? Either a blanket leaflet drop around all of the properties at once in your area. You could do generic handwritten letters that go through letterboxes, or you can even do bespoke addressed letters using the Land Registry website to target specific properties, perhaps rundown ones or empty ones, and you can then specifically go after the owners and write a letter to their home address, which is pretty effective if you ask me, and actually I've had an amazing amount of success with that. In fact, my first ever 2 letters that I ever sent out, I got 1 response and I bought that property significantly below market value. And although I've never been able to recreate that level of success, that was enough for me to get that proof of concept. And I've done that ever since. And I do still see massive success with it, just a much lower percentage when we're sending out letters. And last but not least on this side is networking. And I'm also going to put under this category word of mouth. And I can't imagine that I need to explain to you what networking or word of mouth is, okay? But let me just say this. A solicitor or a builder recommendation can be one of the strongest ones out there. You want someone to think of you every time an opportunity comes up. Every time the owner says, oh, I just need help, or this chain's broken down, okay? Whatever it is, you want them to think of you. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to start paying referral fees to further incentivize that as well. Okay, now this was going to be my list, but I have actually just decided to add one more, and that is to get creative. Okay, what do I mean by that? When I say the words get creative, I just mean create anything which could be an advertising opportunity. Okay, business cards, sign that goes in the windows of your refurbs, maybe having a sign written car, anything that you could think of where someone could see it. Well, there is an opportunity for you to advertise there. Okay, you could put, we buy houses for cash, quickly and in all conditions. And if you advertise that in somewhere where someone is likely to see it, either they might be in a position to sell or they might know someone in a position to sell. So if you can get creative, you can actually also get cost effective with some of these forms of advertising. Rather than blowing a big ad budget on paid advertising, you can actually try and do the cheaper stuff in order to get the same results. All right, so that is on market advertising, off market advertising, and we of course want to try and find owners, vendors, people that are looking to sell, that are motivated and will sell at a discount, okay? And those are the routes of how to do it, okay? But now let's say that you found the property, you found the off-market property, but how do you approach them? So it's the how. How do you talk to them? The key is always going to be focusing on their problem and how you can help them, rather than just pushing it for the sake of a deal. Okay, so a few tips for you are these. Number 1 is to always ask the right questions. Ask the right cues. Why are they selling? What is their ideal outcome? Okay, because understanding their motivation helps you put together and craft the right kind of offer. If you don't know what their motivation is, then you're not solving that problem for them. Number 2 is to be professional, so pro, but also personal. So be a professional, but also be very personable to them, because this is their asset. This could be their home at the end of the day, okay? And people want to work with someone that they trust. So be genuine, listen, don't straight away go in and pressure them, just explain your intentions. For example, if they've told you they've lived there for the last 30 years, you could explain to them that your plan is to carefully take over this property, refurbish it, bring it back to its glory, and then rent it to a family in the area. You're understanding the fact that yes, they're motivated to sell. Yes, they want you to buy it, but it's also somewhere they've loved and they've brought up their children there, or they've lived for 30 years and cared for. So you're not going in there just demolishing it and just thinking of it as a number. And then number 3 is to offer solutions. Okay, if you're listening to them, then you'll know how you can do that. Offer solutions, not just a price, because sometimes sellers want flexibility, a fast sale, or maybe a delayed completion, or even some form of agreement where they could stay there after completion as tenants, or perhaps they want you to take on their tenants. You have to understand what their motivation is and offer them a solution, not just push a price on them. And we talked about getting creative. Well, get creative with your deals, okay? If you want to buy this because it's a really good deal, get creative. The saying, 2 ears, 1 mouth is very, very important when it comes to understanding someone's motivation. So there you have it. Finding motivated sellers isn't just about luck. It's about knowing where to look and how to approach them. Use the strategies that I've shared with you today and do it consistently, and you'll start to see results. But it won't happen overnight, I can tell you that one, okay? You need to take your time, you need to build these into your weekly habits, and then you'll start to reap the rewards over time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.